because sometimes the first page comes and then it doesn't move.
Yes.
My experience with so many things, it's better to check.
Thank you, Piyush.
Okay, good.
Right.
Aarti, we should now be moving to YouTube, please.
Yes, sir.
58 already.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We are there?
Professor Bala is also here.
Welcome, Professor Bala.
Yes, sir.
We are there? Aarti, tell us when it is on.
So we have gone live. We can start.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Few seconds more still.
People who are not speaking, mute your mic so that we have a less background noise.
Okay, so here it is 4 o'clock, and I think we are starting our webinar right away. It gives me immense pleasure in hosting this, being one of the hosts for this wonderful event. It's much more than an event. It is actually more of a dialogue and something that I feel is the beginning of a dialogue on assistive technology. So assistive technology, as we know, is something that really changes the definition of what persons with disabilities can or cannot do. And we want to bring this change in the lives of almost every person with disability in this country. We are way far away from it because most of the assistive technology is reaching out to only a creamy layer. And whereas we actually want to change that situation and be able to reach out to almost every person. So there are several efforts that are being made, and one of those milestones are happening today, all thanks to the Amway and the efforts made by the team at Saksham and SecTech that first of all, a platform was created, and now that platform is now reaching into mobile phones by way of an app. But more than the app and this thing, we see this whole infrastructure as the backbone for bringing the various stakeholders together, because it is only if we work together that we will be able to achieve that whole mammoth task of being able to reach out to every citizen of this country with the basic and advanced assistive technology solutions. To make this dialogue happen, to see various perspectives of various stakeholders, we are gathered here, and on behalf of a very committed, excellent Saksham team, I extend a very, very warm welcome. And when I say Saksham team, that includes our board members, which include Ambassador Singh or Mr. Anup Seth, or our founder trustee with me, Ms. Rami Seth, and also our Saksham team members like Dr. Piyush Chanana, Aarti, And what beautiful part at Saksham actually is that Saksham is not just one family, it's actually a full-fledged joint family, because Saksham also includes the Assistive lab, which is at IIT Delhi, and we have a very strong collaboration between Saksham and IIT Delhi that creates that Assistive lab in IIT Delhi. The joint family also includes the Railline Foundation, where again Professor Bala, Professor Rao, and me, and Piyush Pulkit, etc. We are all together in creating that little family there to bring out a special solution. It also includes SACTAC Foundation and Saksham and the extended family of Daisy Forum of India. So that is why I say the Saksham is not just one family, but the whole, you can say the joint family. And this joint family also has a very important member now in way of the MWay Enterprises. We have two vice president, the senior vice president, Mr. Ghosh, and Ms. Bishnoi, the vice president communications, and the team, the whole team of MWay, who is also the co-host here with us. And on behalf of all of us, we welcome the whole community which has gathered together here today to be part of this dialogue, a very important dialogue, I must say. And this dialogue has a potential of really becoming the evident thing of complete change. I especially extend a very warm welcome to all the resource persons, the chief guest, Professor Rajan, guest of honors, Mr. Ghosh from MWay, and Mr. Himangshu Das, the director NIEPVD. Also our keynote speakers, Dr. Punani, Professor Rao, and Mr. Chappell from WHO. So with your presence, with the presence of such names, I'm sure we all are really looking forward to a dialogue, because it's rare that we are able to get together around a table and are able to express our expectations, our aspirations from to be able to participate in this whole area. So before we start the keynote, I may just invite Aarti Chanana, who's one of our leading members at Saksham, to give a very brief, just a 2-minute brief of various verticals where Saksham is working in, and then on we'll take on. So Aarti.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Please allow me to share my screen. So, Saksham is an organization working for the persons with visual impairment, their empowerment and their education. And it was established in 2003 by Mr. Dipendra Manocha and Ms. Ravi K. Seth with the belief that a persons with blindness or low vision can do everything with only one change, and that is the way things are done. So we have a mission of empowering individuals with visual impairment and multiple disabilities by enabling access to appropriate assistive technology solutions for education, work, and independent living in an affordable and sustainable manner to bring out independence and dignity in lives of everyone. So we basically deal in 4 verticals. I'll give you a glimpse of all those one by one. So first is assistive technology and training. Second is inclusive education. Then we have Saksham Digital Library and audio description of movies and cultural rights. So these are the 4 verticals. Assistive devices is Saksham is working to make technology solutions like talking devices, braille devices, etc. And our approach of making assistive technology available in India at affordable price is like we have 3-pronged approach, which is procurement of assistive devices from all over the globe. then customization of available solutions in Indian regional languages, and then development of new solutions which are not available in collaboration with research institutes like IIT Delhi and industry partners like Critical Solutions and PMS, that is Phoenix Medical Systems. So, with this mission, we have also recently launched in 2013, 14 December 2019, we launched this Sactic.in, which is an online shop for assistive devices for persons with visual impairment. This is also a not-for-profit company. So this has enabled people to procure devices from their doorsteps. Our next project is inclusive education. We have a school, or we can say Education and Rehabilitation Resource Center at Noida, which was established in 2006. It was awarded as Best Institution in Noida in 2009. And here children from the marginalized section of the society are given complete financial support for their education. So customized programs to cater to the educational and psychosocial needs of children with different disabilities are given here. Several children have been successfully integrated into mainstream schools like Salwan Public School, Bluebells International, and many more. So there are various projects which are being run here, like infant to toddler and early intervention, then pre-integration program, integrated education program, pre-vocational program. So customized programs have been set for children here. Then our next project is Saksham Digital Library. So as we all know that reading is one of the major challenges faced by persons with print disability. To overcome this issue, Saksham has played a pioneer role in making reading materials in accessible formats and started the digital library for persons with print disabilities. So in a step towards this, we have launched Sugamya Pustakale in collaboration with Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Ministry of Human Resource Development, and Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. So this is an online library for visually impaired where lakhs of books are available for their education. Our fourth and final project is audio described movies and cultural accessibility. So we work for the cultural inclusion of visually impaired person, where we try to make movies and cinema accessible for them by making movies. Movies have some portions or dialogues which are where there are no dialogues. There are some portions in the movie which are totally mute, and visually impaired persons are not able to understand what is going on the screen. So the movies are made accessible by adding additional narration to those portions. So this is how we make movies accessible for them, and we have converted more than 60 movies up till now and made them accessible, which includes Bollywood movies, regional films, children's films, etc. And we have also been featured in Limca Book of Records in 2019 for creating the largest number of audio described movies in commercial and all these streams. So if I talk about the impact of our organization since 2003, we have distributed more than 10,000 devices at subsidized cost. We have provided and impacted the lives of more than 10,000 people by making the technology affordable for them. And if we talk about the Smart Cane, which is one of our flagship products, which we have developed in collaboration with IIT Delhi, we have crossed the number of 1 lakh. We have already provided 1 lakh Smart Canes to pan India to people with visual impairment with the help of government under the ADIP scheme. So, and now if we talk about the vertical, which is Saksham Digital Library, under that we have already converted more than 12,000 titles of different universities, boards, and genres, and made them available in accessible formats. So these are some of the awards which we have received, national award and other awards. I would not like to go much in detail in these. And we are available on the all social media, and we are present in 4 places. And our head office is at New Rajendra Nagar. We, as I told, that we have a resource center in Noida. Then we have a branch of Saksham in Punjab, and in one branch in Himachal Pradesh, that is Rohru. So with this, thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Aarti, for this introduction. I think we have main thrust for us, of course, is that things have to be affordable, compatible with Indian languages, reaching out to masses, reaching out to individuals, and deeply connected with users, reaching out to users in all parts of the country. I think those are few key words, key driving forces for us, making things available when they are required, wherever they are required, making them available at ease. I think those are few driving forces for us, and everything with excellent quality. So I think that's the gist. And to guide us through all this, we have, as we say, not just a very extremely hardworking, dedicated, passionate people who are working every day full time, but excellent mentors like Ambassador Swashpavan Singh. I may just introduce him. We are absolutely honored to have him as one of our mentors for the whole team. He, before his retirement, I think his last posting before his retirement was he was His Excellency the Ambassador of India in Geneva and the permanent representative to the UN agencies representing India. It is during this time that I first met Ambassador Singh at that time while the Marrakesh Treaty negotiations were going on. Extremely honored that he chose to be part of Saksham to guide us through and take us to the next levels of our existence. May I invite Ambassador Singh to please come and introduce and welcome our first keynote speaker. Ambassador Singh, please.
Thank you, Dipinder. It's really an honor to be included in this virtual national conference on World Disability Day. And I am particularly privileged to be asked to honor and recognize Mr. Chapal Khasnabis. He is, as you know, the head of access to assistive technology and medical devices unit at the World Health Organization. He graduated in prosthetics and orthotics engineering from the All India Institute of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation in Mumbai in 1979. Before joining the WHO, he worked at the National Institute for the Orthopedically Handicapped, where he was head of the Department of Bio until 1994. Mr. Khasnabis was also the secretary and more recently president of the Indian Society of Prosthetics, Orthotics and Rehabilitation Professionals. He has worked for many international governmental organizations and WHO in Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Mongolia, Vietnam, Guyana, and Sierra Leone. Mr. Khasnabis is a technical officer in the Disability and Rehabilitation team in the Department of Violence and Injury Prevention and Disability. With this background, we are indeed privileged and honored to have him on our conference. He brings to us not only a great amount of professional competence and academic brilliance, he has also had hands-on experience in several parts of the world, particularly in the developing world, in the least developed countries. And this is of particular relevance to us. Let me compliment Saksham and Amway for putting together this national conference and also for bringing together on one platform such a large and wide variety of both expertise of great professionals and people who have contributed to this particular area of human endeavor. I welcome Mr. Chapal Khasnabis to make his presentation, and I'm sure he will cover a wide range. But may I just flag two areas which he might also quickly touch. I would like him to tell us what are the prospects of any fresh budget constraints that the WHO is facing for reasons that we're all familiar with. And the second is what is the effect of COVID-19 on WHO's activities, particularly in this area of disability support. And with these words, I welcome Mr. Chapal Hasnabi to this conference, and we tell him to convey to him that we're greatly honored that he's going to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Singh, fellow panelist, and special thanks to Monochaji for inviting me to give a talk. Could I have my presentation, please? So I have been told to speak more about the key challenges in the area of assistive technology. So I'll try to cover the whole gamut. So beyond visual disability, and if you want to contact, always welcome. So the key challenges what I see, especially in India and low middle income countries, is the definition of disability and definition of assistive products user. The current data of 1.1%, and if you take 20% visual, 0.4%, no industry will be interested, not the policymakers will be interested to invest in a sector which has such a small reach. So, and this is not the fact, we know that. And that's what we have to really look at it in a different way. And the demographic change, when I entered in the sector, we used to have a lot of childhood blindness, but we now see more adulthood blindness. So the whole game has shifted significantly over the years. When I entered in the WHO 18 years ago, one of the biggest team was prevention of blindness. 18 people used to work, and now it is only 3 or 4 people. So you can see that how the shift has happened with the demographic in the whole area of disability, especially vision. Then we also see that policy, still very much policies, dominance of charity approach. Still India is stuck with this ADIP and all this. So charity and rights and the commerce always do not go hand in hand. And the products range is very limited. You have to excuse me for my ignorance if I missed anything. But provision is very fragmentation of services and service providers. The market, there is no market. And if there is no market in India, you cannot think this sector will grow or people will get benefit. So we have to rediscover this market. Next, please. So in WHO also, we had initial days quite a bit of hiccups. We always work with medicine, vaccines. What is this assistive technology? What are you talking about? These assistive products. So we said, look, everyone needs assistive technology at some point of their life, and especially when you age. Somebody needs it from childhood, somebody needs it later, but at the later age, everybody will need it. So here in the presentation, I have showed some examples, and also my friend and her father, how they're independent because of assistive technology. Next. Products, and these 9 assistive products keeps him going without any support, and he's still a productive member. So we estimate that 1 billion today, 1.5 billion by 2030, and 2 billion by 2050 people will need assistive technology. But 1 in 10 have access currently, which is a bit bizarre, depressing number. But I also see this sector as a 90%. growth opportunities because we have still to reach 90%. So 9 times growth opportunities of the sector is can attract more investment. So to mitigate this gap, and especially the gap between North and South, low-income countries and high-income countries, we brought all the key stakeholders together and taking the Article 32 of the Convention of International Cooperation, WHO first developed this global cooperation on assistive technology, which we call it GATE. And we say GATE because it opens the gate from exclusion to inclusion, from home to out. So next. And we changed the narrative. We united the fragmented sectors and leaders under one umbrella of assistive technology. If you talk about 0.1%, 0.2% in the competing agendas of the health and finance, you get lost. Even I was not getting any traction within WHO in my initial days because they used to think, oh, this is only for the blind or deaf or somebody in a wheelchair. So nobody thought beyond that when I started assistive technology within the WHO. And I said, no, it's not. It's much bigger. So we tried to bring all the sectors, vision, mobility, low vision, access, communication, all under one umbrella. And then I said, hey, we are talking about 30% population. This is what need. And these people's need of assistive products is as essential as medicines and vaccines. And then WHO and our supporters and our resource people started listening and getting interested. And we developed this ecosystem of service provision, which has to be people-centered. We call it 5P, 5 fingers, 5P, people-centered policy, products, personnel, and provision. And believe me, without 1P, other 4P will collapse. So it has to work in tandem. Next. And within these 6 years of GATE, we have achieved a lot. We have achieved a World Health Assembly resolution. We created 2 international global organizations. One is called 80 Scale and one is 80 2030. And if you look at the logos very carefully, the glasses, hearing aids, wheelchairs, prostheses, and tablets, and smartphones, these are the 5 key items. In this, we already have 100 millions of products to procure, but from where? So of essential products. So many people are still stuck with a few products they have seen in their lab or they have seen in their road. So we said, no, these are the 50 essential products. And then next. And based on these products, we developed an app and a tool, digital tool. So we collect the data from any population. What are the needs of each product? So we develop this list to estimate exactly the number of products is needed in each population. And then we at WHO and UNICEF, because now we know the number, this is the first time in the history of UNICEF and WHO that in the WHO UNICEF procurement catalog, there will be assistive products. And so we at WHO with UNICEF, we are developing this procurement manual, procurement product specification and all. And from next June, we'll go for mass procurement. And you would be happy to know many of these essential products we have showed is now getting inside the UNICEF and WHO catalog. So any country needs UNICEF, WHO procure from the best source at the best possible price, like medicines and vaccines, and even to countries. Next. So as you said, Dr. Singh, that COVID derailed everything. COVID changed all our planning. So, but it also made us think. So this 1 year, really we went back and really challenged ourselves that what we are doing, is it right? Can we do it different way? So we are developing a new service delivery model, which is more digital based, advanced technology. On one end, taking advantage of the user, the family members, and at the other end, take the use of the advanced technology available to ensure that we reach everyone, everywhere. Next. So I come back to, this is our global, come back to more 18 LMIC. The biggest problem is who owns it. In India, I get lost. I go time and again, I ask, who owns it? Ministry of Health, Social Justice, Education, Small and Middle Scale Industries, SME, local government, local panchayats, NGO, charities, never get a clear answer. Next. So we have estimated the market. So we take, even if we say average cost of products of $200 or $500, it's a $1 trillion industry. $1 trillion industry. What is India's market share? What is low middle income countries' market share? And you cannot make the world is global now. So you have to really think of how I can make a global business so that I can make these kind of products more affordable in my own country, my own people. And that's kind of things is still not happening. And I would be very happy to see from WHO, to be honest with you, we depend on China, we depend on India. Because these are the two countries who has the largest capacity of producing this kind of products. So you have to think in the market and the way, rather than still a charity or distributing few wheelchairs, few products here. Next. I give an example. This is a very, and many hidden truth is here. 1958. I was born in 1958. So as Hindustan Motors of Ambassador and the Toyota, the same, almost same month. And you look after today, where is Hindustan Motors and where is Toyota? And that's if you really investigate in this, you will have the key why the IT sector is not grooming in India, why India is not a global power in the assistive technology. Next. So I ask, there are so many products now in the market, why it is not in Make in India? Where is small and medium scale industries? Why this sector is not under Skills India? So many, why it's not benefited through Ayushman Bharat program? So these are the things we really need to see how we can make a bigger case to make a bigger change. Next. I give an example as a landscape. Understanding the landscape of AT sector in Norway and India in terms of the need and the budget. And many people can say, I know, you'll say, tell me, Norway can afford. So their per capita budget for assistive technology is $65. Okay, India is not that bad. India's economic GDP per capita, 1/15 of Norway. So if Norway it is 65, why cannot be India $4, $3 at least? Is the IT market or IT sector investment is $5 billion in India? I'm not sure. And if you look these two statistics, you can compare where we are. And that's what India needs to catch up. So we need a national plan. We need to have a roadmap. And we have to really go out of our homes boxes and think big as a country, how India can contribute for the India's growth and the world growth. And that's what I said. Sometimes more than Atmanirbhar Bharat, we say Vishwa Nirbhar Par Bharat. We really depend on India and China and South countries or the BRICS countries for the products. So help us to reach to the world. Next. So if you go to Norway, for every 1-2 lakh population, there is a provincial AT center for 1-2 lakh population. And we do not have for 1-2 crore population, or even at the state level or regional level. So nothing can grow in isolation. It has to grow. So we have to look at the whole environment and see that how we can take it together. So I'm really still hoping that before I die, I'll see some national or regional AT centers in India who will, and with that aspiration, and keep on knocking the doors of the politicians to the policymakers to the implementers, so that how can it happen? Next. This is my last. Thank you very much. And here is the WHO GATE community website and the link, MedNet Community Net GATE. And we have more than 1,600 members and organizations from 120 countries. So anything we do, it goes around the world. And we are rich because we have this connection. Everybody in this is our resource person. And as you know, that we are producing global report on assistive technology in partnership with UNICEF. And we really hope that will change the whole IT landscape in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ghaznavis. And your dreams and your wishes, I think, echo so much with what we have been feeling in India. We have recently, some time ago, also embarked upon a national strategy called See a Million Strategy on how to reach out to people. And this Assistive Technology Center has been in the center of that strategy that the civil society organizations were trying to put in place. And it is basically, this event too is in a way, part of realizing that strategy in India. And the whole SecTech.in platform has been envisioned as a backbone to not only have assistive technology centers, but also have them connected to each other for guidance and providing assistive technology to people. So we really look forward to greater collaborations and participation, and your vision will and your experience can guide us through in scaling up whatever we have started doing in India. Thank you so much for your with that, now I would like to introduce another member of our Saksham family, Nirmita Narasimhan, who is actually leading the policy work and the standards work within Saksham. She is part of the various committees at the Bureau of Indian Standards, and has recently also, for example, co-authored a white paper which was released by the National Broadcasters Association. So primarily working in the area of technology standards to be able to get inclusion of persons with disabilities in the mainstream ICT infrastructure of this country and the products and services. So leading that is Nirmita Narasimhan, and I would like to call her to introduce our next keynote speaker, which is which will represent another key stakeholder in this whole ecosystem of assistive technology. The IIT Delhi, which is one of the premier institutions of our country, our association with them has been long. Professor Balakrishnan, Professor Rao, they have been like a family member almost now, because now we've been working for decades together. But the IIT, of course, is much larger than what Saksham as a civil society organization would be. It's a huge institution. Also has collaborative work with WHO, etc. So Professor Rao is going to represent, and I would like Nirmita to please introduce and welcome Professor Rao for his keynote address. So Nirmita.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is my privilege to introduce Dr. P.V. Madhusudan Rao. Dr. Rao is a professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering and Design at IIT Delhi. He also serves as the head of Department of Design. He is a co-founder of the Assistive Lab in the Khosla School of Information Technology, which works towards empowerment of persons with vision impairments through the development of assistive technology. As a coordinator of the Design Innovation Center at IIT Delhi, he is also responsible for initiating and driving multiple projects on design, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We at Saksham have had the privilege and pleasure of working with Dr. Rao over the years, and warmly extend a welcome to this event. Professor Rao, over to you now. The floor is yours.
Okay. So good afternoon, and thanks for this opportunity. So I am actually representing today Assistive Lab, and I am joined by some of my colleagues, Professor M. Balakrishnan, who is also a founder of this lab, and Piyush Channa, who has been with us for more than 10 years. So as many of you know, the Assistive Lab was formed more than 12 years back. And Mr. Deependra Manocha has been with us from the day one this lab was formed, and it has been a great opportunity to work with him over all these years. So the lab is primarily looking at development of assistive technology products and solution to empower people with visual impairment and blindness. And we are primarily into two areas, which is independent mobility and independent education. So during last 10 years, we were able to take some of the products and solutions all the way from identifying the need to all the way to market people and society. And as it was mentioned, we were also able to touch about 100,000 lives through these assistive technology products and solutions so far. But the journey had many challenges. That means we were able to learn many new things during this entire journey. And it has been a professionally and personally a very satisfying journey. But I just wanted to basically give a couple of points of this journey as an experience and as a learning. So assistive technology is a highly interdisciplinary area. And we realized very soon that educational institutes alone cannot embark on this particular journey. And most of our products and solutions and new product development works, actually we work more in a consortia mode. So we always had a Saksham as a user organization with us in this complete journey. At the same time, we also work with manufacturers to see that the product doesn't become a functional product just tested and sitting in a lab, but also reaches the people. And in this journey, we had Critical Solutions and Phoenix Medical Solutions helped us in this whole journey to take the product and solutions to market. And this was also a necessary because anybody who is into assistive technology would very well know that if somebody has to really develop any of the ATs, one has to address 5 dimensions. So there is a technical dimension which IIT is good at, but there is a medical dimension in some of the products. There is a sociological dimension. Then there is a business dimension. And we also require a good design to integrate all these 4 dimensions into a product which people would aspire. And bringing all these dimensions together means that we had to work with many organizations, which is there. And Saksham has been one of the organizations which also became a window to connect with the rest of the world. And now we have more than 50 organizations as our collaborators, partners, and channel partners in this whole journey. And we value this association, and probably we attribute our success to this collaboration which we had. Because most of the assistive technology work, unlike many other products, requires a very strong co-creation. And this co-creation was possible because we had a large number of organizations, users, and stakeholders on our side to develop this particular thing. Apart from Saksham, we are also thankful to NIEPVD, earlier NIVH, because that's one organization where probably we went for all the trials, maybe immediately after the Saksham, for our products, etc., and got many valuable suggestions. And the journey also showed, as Chapal mentioned, that if you want to provide a complete product, complete solution, and actually to make an impact, you can't leave any of the 5 Ps. So learning about product, people, personal, policy, and provision was really enriching, and it helped us to really make an impact. And we also realized as a part of this journey is that though assistive technologies were in existence in some of the countries, but simply borrowing a technology and make it affordable was not the solution. In fact, many of the needs which we addressed are very country specific, and they have to work in a very unstructured environment, such as India and the rest of the 90% of the world, where environments are not very structured. So hence, the design came as a strong weapon to address this particular issue, which is there. And very interestingly, what happened is when we started with our assistive technology work, we thought we are basically a product development and innovation lab. But when we actually reached out to people, it threw away so many new research challenges that we had to start a strong research program around this. Now we have half a dozen PhD students. 2 of them just graduated. They completed their PhDs in assistive technology, and a few more who are still pursuing. But overall, we were also able to share some of our knowledge and experience of these 10 to 12 years with other organizations, particularly organizations such as IIT Madras. And even it helped in designing some of the assistive technology funding programs at places like Social Alpha, Will Grow. And we are still working very closely with the only 2 incubators in assistive technologies which are presently there, ATF and RT Labs. We were actually able to work very closely with them to do that. And we think that probably in future this will scale and it will be there. But what we feel is, as Chapal mentioned, we are still a very long way to go because the 3 challenges which we see in assistive technology are still not addressed. One is awareness, second is affordability, and third is access. And I think each of them requires a very concrete plan. And one of the reasons why we proposed National Center for Assistive Technology to Ministry of Health and ICMR is to see that we have a very concrete plan, not only for this region, for the entire nation to do that. And so these 3 aspects also require very different, I would say, initiatives. We always aspire to have a center where people can come and probably experience their assistive technologies, because we found that many people are not even aware that what are the assistive technologies and how can it empower them. And I think that's a big gap which we need to do. As far as affordability is concerned, we have programs like TIDE, thanks to Dr. Rajan. We had multiple fundings from the TIDE, but that helped us to do a functional product and a minimum viable product. But we always required another level of funding to take it to market. And Wellcome Trust and Ministry of Information Technology has been helpful in this, but in India still needs such a funding, which is strongly lacking, is this thing. And third is, of course, what kind of business and dissemination models which we develop will only decide how we will be able to make an impact. So I think overall, we are still have many more challenges to solve, and we continue to work with all of you, and somehow we are very optimistic that we will be able to probably address many of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Rao. I think it's absolutely been a privilege working with this team at IIT, and we have brought out such important aspects of this whole development of what role, and it's an excellent example of what role an institution like IIT Delhi can play in this whole scenario. So all our various stakeholders have our roles to play, and this is what we are here today gathered to realize that. So the next a very, very important stakeholder for us are the rehabilitation professionals, special educators, etc., who are an integral part of not just development, but taking this technology to the hands of people and its real utilization. And to represent the special educators, there cannot be a better person to represent that whole sector is Dr. Punani, who will be delivering our next keynote. And to introduce him to, we have our team of our inclusive education program, the resource center at Noida. We have 5 pillars there, basically, who have created that model. Saksham actually believes in creating models, replicable models, so that those can be actually be replicated in all across the country. And I'm proud of this resource center at Noida, which has come up like absolutely a brilliant model of how inclusion can be, made a reality for persons with not just with blindness but with multiple disabilities. And these pillars being Mrs. Mukherjee or Ms. Brijbala Bardwal or Vipasha or Pushpa or our founder trustee Rami Seth. And these people have actually, right from infant to toddler program to multiple disabilities to open schooling to inclusion in best of the schools to preparing children, and also having services like rehabilitation programs like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. So very comprehensive solution being provided through this. And we have Ms. Sushmita Mukherjee here with us to introduce, as she is a part of our team. I invite her to introduce Dr. Punani to the gathering, please.
You're not audible, Shamishta ma'am. Please unmute yourself.
Unmute. You have to unmute.
I'm sorry. I said that thank you so much, Dipinder sir, for giving this opportunity. I think Dr. Punani hardly needs an introduction, but I'll still do the honor. And it gives me a tremendous pleasure and great opportunity to be able to be part of this. So Dr. Bhushan Punani, he's the chairperson of International Council for Education of Children with Visual Impairment, West Asia. Dr. Bhushan Punani left a lucrative career in industry on completion of his management degree from the Indian Institute of Management in 1979 and joined the Blind People's Association. He's one of the first professional managers to join the disability organization. He has a long-term association of more than 40 years with BPA, and during this period, BPA has grown from a small organization to one of the largest and fastest growing organizations in Asia. We know Mr. Punani, Dr. Punani is very full of knowledge and resource. So I welcome him, and we give you the floor, sir. Please do give your paper. Thank you so very much.
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Smita ji, for giving this very interesting introduction. But the best introduction is that we are consumers of the technology. While Chapel promotes technology at the world level, Mr. Professor Rao develops it, Dipendra tests it, we use it. And can you just put out the presentation?
Yes,
now,
sir.
Just to tell Chapel, things are happening now. There are a couple of products which are now being made in India. Just to name a few, Smart Cane, as you know, product of IIT Delhi and made by Saksham, is a very successful product going to many countries. Torchit, which is made in Ahmedabad, was tested at Blind People's Association. Orbit, you all will be surprised. There's an Orbit reader, Orbit writer, Orbit reader. All these products are made in Vadodara in Gujarat. They're marketed from USA, but they're product of India, being sold from USA. We have a lot of low vision devices. Worth Brailer, the Perkins Brailer, is now made in India, sent to many countries. But you're very right. We have a long way to go in 80, and at least beginning is made. But just to tell all the stalwart, Dr. Rajan, Mr. Ghosh, Himangshu, Professor Rao, Chapel, that unless our people are educated, unless there's a demand, the biggest problem is Chapel and everybody, even if the product is available, there are very few takers. The takers will be there once we have a lot of people with vision impairment, other disabilities who are educated, who need the technology for their education, for their employment, for their daily living, for their general development, and for everything, including their movement, accessibility. So unless we promote education, it's really sad. 80 is a limitation, but education is the biggest limitation. Before I come to that, just to say a few words about ICVI, International Council for Education of People with Visual Impairment. I bring you greetings of Dr. Francis, our president, Mani, our CEO, Nandini, our treasurer, and Pravina, our vice president, and Reema, our vice president. They all are very happy that ICVI is part of this great gathering, and we have opportunity to share our views. And ICVI and World Blind Union work in tandem, work hand in hand. And both organizations launched a very big campaign, Education for All Children with Visual Impairment. We used to call it FAVI, which was running in many countries with support from CBM, Site7, etc. We published a very important book, Teaching of Math. Math is there. You need a technology. But you need a method also, which is a very popular book, and it has been converted into videos and it's available on YouTube. Then, we have been devoting a lot of sessions in the world congresses and in the regional congresses on inclusive education, on technology. You will all appreciate, unless we promote education, technology will have little role to play. Unless people are educated and they understand the importance of being independent, of being employed and being contributory members of society. So according to me, both things go hand in hand. You have to promote technology and also people use the technology. Then ICVI has been conducting a lot of workshops on technology with the support of Lee Foundation. It is also running a very large project with Nippon Foundation in East Asia or higher education. Dipendra will be very happy that wherever higher education develops for people with visual impairment, the demand automatically comes and they start demanding for all the technologies, all the equipment and all the devices, which we are doing in East Asia. And also we have published a number of articles next in Educator on these subjects, and they have been very well received. So ICVI fully supports Dipendra, your initiative and initiative of all of you, and we shall always be very happy to associate anything which is about technology and education. It will be our privilege. Now, just to give a glimpse about India, that inclusive education is not new to the country. It was way back in 1956. First time 2 blind students went to a regular school. But 1964, we started the first large project on integrated education in Palanpur. And you all will be very honored. Way back in 1978, the scheme was launched. It's called IEDC, which was a very large scheme, but unfortunately, multi-million allocation scheme. Very rarely took off. It took off very well in Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, couple of states, but not across the country. Then, it's really a matter of honor for all of us that way back in 1986, the National Policy on Education did recognize the need for inclusive education. It was called integrated that time, but now it's inclusive. And it's really very heartening that way back in 1986, our policy made a very clear reference to this concept. And first time in 1981, on the year of IIT, which was yesterday, we launched a very large project in Vistnagar, which is a trendsetter for the country as a whole on inclusive education. And again, you all will be honored. Our Person with Disability Act, 1995. First time, it said that every child with disability has a right to free and compulsory education till the age of 18 years. Of course, it can be debated how far that has been effective, but there was a tool. Even when we started district primary education program, which was called Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, now Smagra Shiksha, way back in 1999, they started enrolling, Piyush next, they started enrolling children with disabilities. And the outcome is today we have 2.7 million children with disabilities going to the school. Now they will be the consumer when they grow up. They'll be the people who will need the technology. And even in 2005, it's a matter of honor that our parliament debated, should we go for inclusive education, how to go about, and the outcome was first time in the country, there was a earmark allocation, money reserved only for education of children with disabilities. And that made a lot of difference. Even the Right to Education Act, Himangshu will agree, that's a very bold act, which really empowers the children, ensures free and compulsory education. In the first act, children with disability were not included, but after a lot of advocacy at Delhi level and Government of India level, in 2011, committee was formed. I was also a member. And 2012, the country included children with disabilities as a part of Right to Education Act. We are one of the few countries on the earth which has a dedicated act for education at the primary level. And that covered children with disabilities. And as a sequel of that, when the 2016 Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act, which is in line with UNCRPD, I was also a member of that drafting committee. And that act also devotes lot of it mandates that every child has a right to go to the school, and it mandates reservation at the higher education level. So these are all things to prove that we want to grow. We want to grow the people with disabilities, bring them to a level where they can demand, they can ask for technology, and technology becomes a great server for their competitive education and employment. And again, I'm very happy that our new education policy, first time any country has a policy where there's a whole sub-chapter devoted to inclusive education. There's a chapter devoted to higher education. And if you go through that policy, it's very clear. First time it has recognized that children, people with disability have the same right and they need to be provided. And you all will be very happy. Our policy has laid great focus, great focus on inclusive education and technology. Technology has been recognized. Resource centers have been recognized. Disability study centers have been recognized. Universities have been mandated to allocate resources for providing technology and technical solutions, which I think if we all struggle, if we all do advocacy, and we need your support to see that new policy on education becomes a reality and people with disabilities are in the school and colleges. Now, just to talk about the opportunities, friends, just to repeat, education in India is a fundamental right at the primary level. It will become secondary level very soon. And it's a constitutional right to give education to such children. And there's a scope for free and compulsory education, which is a legislative right as a part of Right to Education Act, ROPWD Act. And as I mentioned, 2.7 million children. Of course, there are issues about the quality of education, quality of teachers. No doubt, I don't say everything is as smooth as it looks on the paper, but beginning has been made. This your technology will be required, how to meet the needs of 2.7 million children who are going to ask Dipendra, your audio books, your equipment, your smart cane, your reading devices, your brain production devices, and every technology, all IIT Delhi need the wheelchair, caliper, crutches, walkers, everything, because now they are going for education. Now they are part of the developmental system, and demand will increase. Now there are a lot of children with visual impairment who are now joining at the university level, because we are one of the few countries which has a 5% reservation in higher education, and this is mandatory. There are judgments of the Supreme Court, Kerala Parents Association of High Court, Palak Jain, which has mandated that every educational system which is run by the government or run with the support of government has to admit 5% people with disabilities. And these are the people who will need technology. These are the people who will promote technology and give you feedback how technology is effective. And I'm very happy to tell you all that there cannot be a university in this country, there cannot be a college in this country which is supported by the government which can say no to this reservation. There's no way. The law is very strong, NGOs are very strong, advocacy is very strong. And if you know of any college which is saying no, please let us know. We'll be very happy to take up to see that this is implemented. And as you know, many universities have established disability study centers. And the classical example is Delhi University, where Dipender is also involved. It has thousands of people, students with disabilities who are now part of the mainstream. And that's where our focus lies. Next, Piyush, where our focus lies that how to give them technology. Friends, just a few comments on role of technology. First of all, technology, I agree with all the speakers, is the most important denominator of promoting education and more so professional education and their employment. There cannot be any debate. Technology is must. It has to be mandated that every person who goes for education has access to technology. That's one thing which is coming out of the use of technology. It's only because of availability of braille material, low vision devices, digital books, online audio platform, screen reading software, and audio recording equipment. A large number of students with visual impairment are now able to pursue higher education and professional education. All the IIMs going to the law universities, going to the IT colleges, doing engineering. We have a person low vision going to a medical college. There are many doors that have opened because technology has enabled them to access all these professional education, which was never possible without technology. Today, I have a student in BJ Medical College in the third year of MBBS. He's low vision. He uses the technology for classroom participation and doing surgery and everything. So things are changing because of these technological inputs. So technology has a great role to play. As you know, COVID has, according to me, is a blessing in disguise. Because of COVID, today our students are attending online classes. They are storing, retrieving, and accessing audio material. They are interacting with the teacher through digital means. They are using Bookshare, Sugam Pustakalaya. The increase has become manifold. I'm sure Pandra will vouch for that. It's a digital technology has really made a big difference. And now COVID has taught us that we can use technology for the benefit of teaching students at home. And parents are participating. For the first time, our students have realized the power of mobile phone. A small device was just a communication device. Now it's become an educational device. Now yesterday we distributed mobiles to the poor children. Now mobile is becoming a must, and that's becoming a small tool which can teach them better. They can interact through WhatsApp and other means also. Now friends, there are now number of apps number of websites which can enable these users to access, download, store, retrieve the material. This is where technology has to pitch in. That how to take it further, that what beginning has been made, how to upscale it to a large scale. And now they are appearing for online examination. You all will be surprised. We run a diploma in physiotherapy. That's the only course in the country run at 2 colleges in Ahmedabad. Both colleges don't use the writers. They don't use the exam through the writers' examinations. Everything is done online. Even the exams are through computer. We are teaching computer online. There are a number of experiments being done. Now, all the thing needs technology. All the thing appropriate technology. Now, coming to the last part, Piyush, what are the challenges according to my understanding? First of all, the biggest challenge is, now I'll request all of you to listen this very carefully and react to that. The biggest challenge is how to reach this from the remote rural areas. It's very nice. They can be reached in the large cities where internet is strong and organizations are there. but our population, 75% of people are disabled in the rural area. Chapel, the challenge is how to reach a tribal area, how to reach a remote rural area where there's no access, there's no internet, there's no tower, signals are very weak. Sometimes there's a power failure. So that's a big challenge, that how to make the technology not dependent on the internet and the electric power, maybe some different means. Now that's where we have to put our heads together and see that the rural areas are covered in the same way as other urban areas. Challenge number two, there are a lot of institutions in India, pardon my saying so, which are reluctant to use the technology because they're very traditional. They've been doing the work the way they are doing for ages. The schools in India are more than 100 years old. So asking them to change, we need to really motivate them, convince them, support them, guide them, or force them, whatsoever, but they need to be motivated and they need to be informed. And another very big impediment in the use of technology is our teachers. Our teachers are taught 20 years before, 40 years before, 30 years before. They're not aware about the new technology, the new method. They're not very good at producing good material which can go on internet and help the children. So we need to go for it. No, we can't blame them because they were never exposed to that. It's something very new. So the way out is that we have to go for capacity building. Unless the teachers are motivated, teachers are informed, teachers are trained, I'm sure interactive teaching evaluation shall never be possible. Technology will have no role unless teachers are able to use that. And another very important thing for all of you, you'll be surprised. Still, there are a lot of children who come from very poor family, who come from the migrant labor, who come from the farm laborers, who come from the wage earners, who come from people on the street. They cannot even afford to buy a mobile. For them, 6,000 rupees mobile is a dream. So we have to have a way out. Government has a scheme, native scheme, but it does not reach everybody. It has this very limited reach. So we have to find a way out that how to reach these people and give them mobile which is internet enabled and they can use it. And most important, that as the signals are very weak, there are a lot of interruption, and how to make it more interesting and more friendly. And last, all schools and institutions using technology need to go for interagency coordination and share the recorded and access material. This is a very important point. There are a lot of institutions, a lot of organizations, Piyush next, there are a lot of organizations which are doing something, but they're not sharing with each other. They're keeping to their own chest. So unless we bring coordination and share the material, things will not happen. And there's no uniformity in the type of equipment, method, and software. We need to develop an SOP in this regard. And Dipendra, is a challenge for you that we should have a brief SOP that how people should use the online teaching, online material, and use the other 80 in the present situation or in the following years as we learned a lesson. And IC will be very happy to help in that. Friends, there's a need for more proactive role of government in promoting use of technology. We had a very recent meeting of Central Advisory Board. I'm sorry to say the government is not as forthcoming as is expected or as should be expected in promoting technology. They have a DIP scheme. They have Science and Technology Department, but having a coordination and meeting the need of children is where we need to really push the government, push the bureaucracy. They become more proactive and support this such intervention. And Dipendra, there are manuals which are provided with the equipment. They are very lengthy, very cumbersome, particularly for the to understand, they need to be simplified. And most important, you will agree with me, every technology has to be affordable, accessible, replicable, and universal. It should be used by the disabled and non-disabled in the same way wherever possible. It has to be, which can be, it must be produced in India. I do agree, Chapel, that technology, unless it's produced in India, is going to be expensive, going to be difficult to repair and maintain. But the overall factor is we have to see it's affordable, accessible, replicable, and all aspiration, NEP, education policy is excellent. It makes a very good reference. You all will be very happy what Dipendra has organized the seminar. It is reflected in the new education policy. It refers to digital libraries. It refers to access to print material. It refers to provision of assistive material. It refers to allocation of adequate funds. What I'm talking is already there in the policy. But the only problem is in the laws, in the schemes, in the programs. But friends, let's not be very pessimistic. According to me, excellent beginning has been made in the use of technology. I'm very proud. India is really shining out. If you see the book share and Sugam Pustakaya, highest number of users, if I'm not mistaken, are from our country. Highest number of books are recorded in our country. Highest number of people using the devices is there. Good beginning has been made. The challenge is how to scale it up, how to see that every person with visual impairment, other disability, is enabled, motivated, empowered to access the technology and use it. Thank you very much for your patient listening. I'm sure these are some of the challenges which I've thrown. I'm sure when you discuss, maybe some of the challenges will guide you how to go about. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Punani. I think, as they say, you've really hit the nail on the head and absolutely pinpointing where are the challenges, what really are the next steps, and policy to implementation to bringing things on the ground. I think our step today are coming together today. Both these things of getting together and also this creating this basic infrastructure are the steps directed exactly towards what you are pointing out, and we really want that this association, what is happening today on this floor, must carry on actually beyond this today's webinar, because all of us are very, very important key stakeholders in implementation of those strategies. So thank you so much for your very in-depth and elaborate representation of the whole scenario for us. So now, friends, that brings us to a very important moment of this whole event for us. The affordable technology will become a solution only when the information, training, and availability of this thing happens at all parts of the country. And to make all that easier for people to use, to make it extremely easy for them to find and use, is something that we have been grappling about. Why is it that people are not being able to use it in spite of them being available? We are trying to, experiment with various things, and today's initiative, what the launch that we are going to have, is a step forward towards it. I would actually request all the resource persons to please unmute your mics. I'm going to do a countdown, and that countdown with the count of 0. Gaps that we have been, I won't say it's a magic wand. It's a step forward. It's definitely a positive step forward. So, Piyush, are we ready for the countdown and the takeoff?
Piyush, please unmute yourself. You're not on it.
Muted.
Piyush, we can't hear you still.
Yes, sir. Just 1 second, sir. I'm getting ready.
And
yes, sir. All set.
Unmute.
Professor Rajan, the countdown would be very, very, home thing for you. So we are trying to do that for our app this time. So I'll do a countdown, and as I said, at 0, we all should just put our hands together, just clap once loudly, so that would trigger the launch of this app. So I begin the countdown. 4. Oh. Yes, Piyush.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I'll just give a brief overview of what we are trying to do with this application. So it's an app aimed at improving lives of persons with disability by them aware and updated about the various technological as well as the general developments happening in the field of disability. So in this app, we have of the inner pages. First, you get to know about the latest announcement which are being planned, then technologies, etc. Plus, you can learn through online videos and podcasts. Once you go to the Connect section, you have the details, a lot of announcements like on the Disability Day, on the new upcoming webinars, or a new product which is donation campaign. Donors can just register a simple form and do the donation online and get support the beneficiaries across the country. Similarly, there is a volunteer section to which volunteers can connect with us. And finally, the Learn section is about the various training programs that are being undertaken at the organization. People can enroll in these programs and make use of the technology and the things. Then you have a lot of resources and videos. Like I mentioned earlier, you can just go through any video and learn a particular technology or get to know about the latest thing. Similarly, for the remote areas where network connectivity is an issue, we have created a section for audio downloads. People can just download the tutorials, etc. in the audio format and learn from these things. Then another section that we are trying to integrate here is the store. Store is the section where you can also purchase the assistive technology in addition to just exploring it. So that part is under integration. In the coming days, you will see a full-fledged store working there. Going to the next slide. So we have submitted the right now. The idea is to have the Android version working, and it has already been submitted on the Play Store, currently being reviewed. So sometimes good things take some time. So we were hoping that at the time of the webinar, we'll be able to download the app, but will not disappoint you. We have created an alternate option. So anybody who wants to try the app just now can download the app from the link http://appsitsolution.com/saksham.apk. And in the meantime, we are hoping that the app will also be available for direct download through the Google Play Store. So in the pipeline, I would say what we are releasing today is more like a beta version of the app. Obviously, our main priority is the stakeholders from the visually impaired community, including teachers, students, parents, and everyone. So we are at most serious about the accessibility and the usability issues, and we are still working on it. In the coming updates, you will get to see a lot more accessible and usable pages. So, in the month's time, we are also working on releasing the app version for the iPhone. So in the meantime, you can be an active contributor because it's very important, like people from different diverse backgrounds, they can provide valuable feedback. We have integrated some of the basic features requirements which have been raised by the user community in the past, but still there is a lot of scope for improvement. So for that, in the settings section, we have created a simple feedback mechanism on where you can report any accessibility or the usability issue, but just by filling a small form. And if you want to share a detailed feedback, you can reach us directly at connect@saksham.org, or you can call us also at 7065-733-734. So we're looking forward to your feedback. So I would also like to acknowledge the role of so this has become possible with the support of a lot of people from multiple organizations. So firstly, I would like to thank the user community who raised this unmet need during our interactions over the years. And today we are able to develop this. And to realize this vision, we acknowledge the support of MWay, who supported us very generously. And specifically, I would like to thank the management and Mr. Rajan, Mr. Jignesh, who have been really working closely with us for the last 2 months, day and night, and even connected us with the MWay technical team and guided us wherever inputs were required. I would also like to thank Apps IT Solution, the team of developers who have been giving us excellent support by developing and integrating things in time and in the way we want. Also like to thank the entire Saksham team, where people in different capacities have been connected and supported in taking this work forward. Special mentions to thanks to Mr. Shrikant Gopi, who has been helping us with the e-commerce part, and Mr. Anubhav Mitra and Mr. Srinivasu, who have been providing valuable insights for the accessibility part. Thank you.
Thank you, Piyush, for introducing the app for us. I must just add that the key gap area has been that often we say that what is getting developed or what is already available, knowledge about that is very hard to find. So the whole SecTech is SecTech.in platform, and this app basically is trying to bring all that together on a single platform. It's not just something which is a store. It's a you can say repository of information about solutions that really work, that are most relevant for a country like India, which is like affordability and compatibility with Indian languages being on the top priority for us for getting these solutions included in this whole catalog of sorts. So this is where we are. And this is, again, not just of single organizations. I believe that we alone cannot actually do much. It always has to be a network. It always has to be in partnerships with almost everybody who's trying to work in this domain. So this is a platform like Sugamya Pustakala has brought the whole of the country together on a single platform for our accessible books. We are envisaging that this SecTech.in and this app would bring all the assistive technology players together on a single platform as a national repository. So with that, now let's move forward to bring in another very key stakeholder for us. You've already heard the great contribution that we have received from MWay Enterprises for making this into a reality. The industry has a huge role to play. Not just as an industry partner for creating assistive technology, but also to support it, to take it to the end users. Also, the CSR part of the industry to subsidize it for people who still can't afford the technology, even after our efforts to make it low cost. And to introduce our guest of honor from MWay. Would be the treasurer of Saksham, who himself actually almost belongs to the same stakeholder community, has had an illustrious career of 35 years in the industry, in the finance sector, as high as being the executive director of places like Bank of America and ABN AMRO Bank, and the vice president of the infrastructure company, US company, Vintech. So he actually, after his taking retirement from the active finance sector, has now sort of contributing back selflessly to the society. His being playing an active mentor role for Saksham as a treasurer, plus being the secretary of another organization in Dehradun who's taking care of several underprivileged children. I mean, his dedication, his focus is a remarkable guidance force and a mentoring force for us. So Mr. Anup Seth the treasurer Saksham, I'll welcome you to come and please introduce and welcome Mr. Saikat Ghosh, who is the senior vice president MWay. Please welcome and introduce Mr. Ghosh. So floor is for you, Mr. Anup Seth.
Thank you, Deepinder, for that very generous and exaggerated introduction. Right, you're always very kind, but actually, it's my privilege to introduce Mr. Ghosh. Good evening, Mr. Ghosh. We are very, very happy to welcome you as our guest of honor, sir. You bring long and extensive experience in IT and digital fields. Prior to MWay, you have been associated with reputable organizations like EDS, IBM, and ICL. You have led, managed, and aligned markets to future state architecture. It's our privilege to have you with us, Mr. Ghosh. Thank you and welcome once again. It's really very generous of you and MWay to allow us to work together with you, and we are very grateful for that. So I'll keep it short. Thank you. Welcome once again, sir, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Anup, and thank you, Deepinder, for that introduction. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, my name is Saikat Ghosh, and it is my honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today. I'm grateful to Saksham for providing us the opportunity to support the cause with the aim to empower and ease the challenges of the visually impaired in India. Our collective efforts and collaborative efforts are in the direction to make a difference in the lives of the visually impaired on this International Day of Persons of Disabilities. But in the true sense, these are people of special abilities. I would like to thank my fellow speakers, special guests, partners, and everyone who has helped to make today's discussion possible. According to the World Health Organization, which we were speaking to, one of the representatives from WHO, there is a population of over 1 billion living around the world with disabilities, which is approximately 15% of the total population of the world. In the current scenario, while the world is adapting to new ways of working online, remote working and learning brings its own set of challenges for individuals with disabilities. Specifically based on the socioeconomic background they come from, their challenges may come from varying degrees of accessing computer equipment, electricity, and the internet itself. These factors have made it imperative for us to come together to support the disabled section of the society to help them meet a basic standard of living and quality of life. We at MWay are committed towards building a better tomorrow, which pivots on inclusivity. Working on the betterment of the deprived section of the society has been one of our prime narratives as we began our MWay India journey in the year 1998. We chose to work with the cause of visually impaired, a section which was deprived of much needed interventions and resources then. As we gradually progressed in our life in line with our vision of helping people live better, healthier lives, MWay instituted some of the key projects in India, such as the National Project of Visually Impaired, Power of 5, focusing on cause of child malnutrition, livelihood program showcasing women empowerment and entrepreneurship, sustainability, community, and water conservation around a manufacturing plant. Our national project for the visually impaired has been instrumental in providing education and livelihood opportunities since the last 2 decades. Through our sustained efforts and association with leading NGO partners like AICB, Saksham, and others, the project has touched the lives of more than 2.5 lakh visually impaired individuals and continues to serve as a platform for the integration and the mainstream society. Committed to the cause, MWay has always been a front runner in championing the cause for the visually impaired. In the past, MWay has undertaken several initiatives to educate and empower the visually impaired people, therefore helping them lead an economically independent life. In line with government's Accessible India initiative, Amway had instituted well-equipped computer centers, Braille audio libraries, free distribution of Braille books, vocational training centers, etc., aimed to help the visually impaired people navigate the competitive world. In partnership with Saksham, Amway has supported the digitization of senior secondary course of National Institute of Open Schooling, as well as select graduation and post-graduation education materials of various central universities. Today, as we further our interventions for the visually impaired, our partnership with Saksham has reached yet another milestone. Since most of the visually impaired persons in India belong to the economically weaker sections of the society and cannot afford computer laptops, hence there is a need to develop a tool which can enhance accessibility and act as an interface to help the visually impaired people address most of their challenges. The launch of Saksham app is a thoughtful attempt to facilitate the lives of the visually impaired people. It is first of a kind, engaging and informative technology solution to empower people with disability and make them completely independent for their daily functions. Saksham mobile application is easy to use, one-stop solution for all information related to assistive technology, devices, and accessible information training. Key government orders, details about various subsidy schemes and how to apply for that, access to important documents such as key legislations and schemes, etc. This app with cutting-edge technology is aimed at empowering visually impaired persons. It becomes much more relevant as the world is progressing towards digitization, and this holds true for the visually impaired community as well. In my conclusion, being aligned with our efforts to ease the challenges of the visually impaired individuals, we truly believe the new app will be a powerful tool to redefine their lives. The time is now for us to come together and take the steps to support visually impaired individuals of our society to help them grow and become independent to the best of their ability. I again want to thank everyone responsible today to make this event happen. And again, like to thank the whole team here for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and especially joining us, taking out time for joining us, Mr. Ghosh. This is absolute brilliant and absolute privilege for us to have you amongst us today for this. Well, friends, I didn't know Google was also so keenly observing this program, because as no later that we launched this app, they have made this app live on the Google Play Store. So what Piyush said, that this is we were still waiting. I think Google was just waiting for this app to be launched to make it live. So now it's announcing that yes, it is live and it can now be downloaded from the Google Play Store. Just search for Saksham and it should show up as Saksham limiting limitations, and we should be able to download that. With that, I think we are also now bringing together the next most important key stakeholder for us, which is none less than the Government of India and their Department of Disabilities, the nodal agency, the National Institute of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, is being represented here by none other than its director, Dr. Himangshu Das. And introducing him, I would like to invite Aarti Chanana, who has completely sort of brought in the passion to our Saksham team. There are so many examples in our team where they have left their higher paying jobs to be part of Saksham team to just for the reason of being passionate to serve the community. She heads our Director Operations and Programs at Saksham. Aarti, please, could I call upon you to introduce and welcome Dr. Himangshu Das?
Thank you so much, sir.
आरती मैम थोड़ा सा ही चलेगा.
थोड़ा सा चलेगा. ठीक है. Okay, sir. So As we all know, Dr. Himangshu Das, he needs no introduction. He's a renowned name in the field of visual impairment. And this is my privilege to welcome him on this platform. And this is for the second time that I am welcoming him and introducing him to our platform, because in the last event that we had, Dr. Himangshu Das had supported us and has graciously agreed to become the chief guest of that event. So Dr. Himangshu Das holds a PhD in special education and master's in special education psychology, social work, education and English. Currently, he is the director of National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities, Dehradun, chief coordinator, National Early Intervention and Preschool Project, and the chairperson, National Mental Health Rehabilitation Helpline. He is former director of National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Multiple Disabilities and former director in charge of National Institute of Empowerment of Persons with Intellectual Disabilities, Secunderabad, under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. So we are very happy to have you here with us. Most welcome to you. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my big privilege today to be part of this very, 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 very august gathering. I would like to say very, very eminent scholars. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, RTC and Manasa sir. And also thanks to the trustees, the board and the team Saksham altogether. Mr. Chappal Kansavis sir was with us. My teacher, Bhushan Punani sir, always been an inspiring person for me. Saikat Ghoshi, it's been really privileged seeing MWA coming up with such great initiative. Thank you so much for such effort for the persons with visual disabilities. And Professor Rao sir, it's a big, big privilege to be listening to you. We had been hearing so much about you. Today, I got this full time listening to your opportunity. And Padma Shri Dr. Rajan sir, we had been learning about you for a long, long time now. And I wish we would carry forward this relationship a little bit more forward. First of all, congratulations to Saksham for this app and also partially to NIEPVD for giving such a big shoot to it to reach every nook and corner of this country. I'm very sure within just 3-4 months, the whole country will be definitely using this app. And I wish you. On this theme and topic, I have nothing much to share, just except that it came as a shock with this COVID lockdown, because we had been, I think most of us had been taking things a bit casually when it came to the entire country and the perspective of the whole country. Laws were there, policies are there, schemes are there, everybody is doing their own bit. However, when this COVID came and I had to set up a school digital control room to run a full-fledged digital school, and then I had to start a digital control room for my HRD college, and then another digital control room for my skilling institution. But then we started realizing, in true sense, the importance of information and assistive technology and its solution, because we had to reach every corner of the country. We are catering to people from across the country. Now, mobile apps were given and laptops were also given, but challenges are enormous. I don't want to project that NIEPVD or Government of India had done a lot and had been doing a lot, nothing of that sort. But we definitely realized the importance and need to a much greater depth, despite doing whatever we had been doing because of this corona time. And far so, last year when we started reading the UN report, despite all these NGOs and government and state government, everybody trying to showcase the best work that they're doing and service for so many years. But UN decade report of the last decade in education for persons with special needs had been, I think, a big disaster. It was a blow to all of us, because this report was kind of a digging into all the demerits, all the problems and issues that we had. And it very clearly indicated us many aspects of challenges. And most of that, I could relate it to technology and information as well. The rural-urban divide was very, very clear. The rich and poor divide was very, very clear. The government schools and the low-income private school, vis-a-vis the big high-income public schools that we see in cities, the divide was very clear. Issues pertaining to format during this COVID time also, we realize every day we get hundreds of messages of non-accessible format of informations that we are giving, information that we are pertaining to, even if a poster we are giving a Facebook or a WhatsApp group or whatever. Every time I'm all these things, and more so to add to all the experts those who have been speaking so well on this topic. I strongly feel the human resource development as far as assistive technology is concerned is to be taken up much seriously. Maybe Rajan sir will be the right person to maybe talk to my department and Rehabilitation Council of India, or he can sort of help me in writing to Rehabilitation Council of India. So unless all our professionals are being given a specific module on assistive technology, we will never learn to realize or use this assistive technology to a greater depth. And also, we realized during this time, even though we had some time assistive technology available with us and we knew how to use, but online competency of delivery of all these things was lacking in most of the professionals. So that is also one area which I think we need to take up for future. Lucky that we now have a proactive center. We have many proactive states coming up. We have the acts in place, and also R&D promotion for persons with disabilities and special needs is on the plate, I think so. ICMR, DST, IIT, I strongly feel in the South, I have seen a massive movement of students coming up to take up movement, which I think every college, every computer science college or engineering college or any of, for that matter, any university, all the departments could take up this on their priority. I would also request PVM Rao sir to really maybe follow up and let us know whether the project of AT Institute is in the right direction or it is taking some movement or not. In case it is getting stuck up for a long time, maybe Dipendra sir, myself and Rajan sir, all of us could get that particular project of National Institute for Assistive Technology Solutions or institute, and then all of us could forward and take up the matter with our department, that is Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disability. So that is one suggestion I would like to give. In case there is stuck up for a long time and nothing is happening, maybe we could come forward, and it's high time that we start modeling Dipendra sir's model of involving more of CSR. And also I feel ISR, individual social responsibility, is one quotient which I have realized in this time of COVID, that not all the time CSR could actually benefit this huge country and reach every village and every person. So somewhere down the line, the concept of ISR, individual social responsibility, also needs to be pushed forward. And also to all of you, because after joining here, I could realize it is not only about visual disability, much also needs to be done for people with low vision, deaf blindness, and visual disability having specific learning disability, autism spectrum disorder, and also intellectual disability in combo with visual disability. As your organization is very proactive and your vision statement is very clear on serving persons with multiple disability as well, to start with maybe visual disability in combo with all these different kind of disabilities that we have come across as a very challenging issue in this COVID time could be also taken up in future. I'm very sure DEPWD will also be promoting a lot of R&D. Recently, I also got a R&D program approved for a app development as far as DEPWD projects and schemes and all the services of department goes. So I very soon collaborate with Dipendra Manosaji, and also I must get together with Rao Sahab immediately and also take suggestions from Rajan sir as soon as possible, because there was a court case in Delhi High Court, and it went to the level of the Supreme Court also. A group of persons with visual disability had sought for enormous amount of technological support through that court affidavit. So maybe in future we should be getting together. Once again, congratulate you. Thank you all of us for giving me this big privilege for being here. Once again, thanking Rajan sir and everyone around. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Himangshu. And I think it's inevitable. I think we do need to carry on this work, and I actually will be very soon in touch with the whole panel, especially the participants of the panel, as a smaller group to deliberate upon to how to actually strengthen or concretize this network so that all stakeholders can actually, at a very regular interval, and on a continuous basis, plan on how this problem actually can be solved for country to be able to reach out. With that, I have a privilege now to, the time for our chief guest to be here with us to address us and to introduce him. I'm actually calling upon one of our greatest friends that we have had for this whole journey, Professor Balakrishnan. A person of such high eminence and in-depth knowledge, being also ex-deputy director of IIT Delhi and this institution. The way he has actually adopted this cause is absolutely remarkable. I've not seen that kind of a dedication, and sustained dedication, I must say, for this cause, especially for solving the assistive technology issues, and the way he has persistently moved towards, and that is why actually we were able to go through all those aspects of being able to produce quality assistive technology products in India. So he has actually been able to show the way of how these things can be done in India. I will invite Professor Balakrishnan to please come and welcome our chief guest and call him for the address. So, Professor Balakrishnan.
Thank you, Dipender. So, of course, I think Professor Rajan does not need any introduction, but still let me try to give a very brief introduction. Professor Rajan is a Padma Shri awardee and has made immense contribution to growth of science, technology, and innovation. And innovation part is also extremely important because that's something that is primarily behind bringing devices or solutions to the country. Of course, he has held very many senior responsibilities in the government. So he has been a secretary of Department of Space, so giving direction to ISRO, and also he was the founding executive director of TIFAC. First time I came to know about him was through his book with Dr. Kalam, as a person who has actually a vision for India. So he's been a close colleague of Dr. Kalam. He's also been a vice chancellor of Punjab Technical University and scientific advisor to Punjab Chief Minister. To many of us who have been working in the assistive technology space, Professor Rajan is a very familiar figure because I think through his initiative, he has been driving the TIDE program of DST for many, many years. Welcome, Professor Rajan, to this meeting.
Thank you, Professor Balakrishnan, for the privilege to be introduced by you. Everybody, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I unmuted. Okay. My namaskara to all those who are in the screen and many other invisible hearing persons will be hearing it. Maybe you have put it on YouTube. There are so many. My namaskara to them also. It was a great pleasure to hear from many distinguished professionals who talked before me. It's very good. I took a lot of notes. I learned a lot. Just as I learned every time when the members of the Program Advisory Monitoring Committee for the Technology Intervention for Disabled and Elderly, Professor Balakrishnan mentioned about it. Every time we meet, I learn a lot. Because so very, very distinguished people from geriatric care to architecture to many things. That's where I met Dipender. This would have been several years ago. It's a unique person. And there is a great saying in Tamil. I always get reminded of the Tamil saying, Yan betra inbam perugayum vayyaham. I don't know how many of you will understand Tamil, but I'm translating it. Let the world get the great pleasure I enjoy. When I see him, I see what it is. He had made a very good use of assistive technologies to overcome his disabilities, also do well in life. But he did not stop there. He wants the whole world to derive those benefits. Hence this Saksham Trust. Very few people do that. Before saying something more about Saksham Trust, its work, and then of course I certain suggestions which should be done, which means for me I am an impatient person, even at this age. We need to scale up very fast. India is one country which is extremely poor in scale up. In fact, Professor Ramamurthy, V.S. Ramamurthy, was Secretary DST, attributes me to say that India has got the greatest amount of symmetry, CEMETRY, of pilot projects. I don't want that to happen to this. I'll tell the reason. Before, and Professor P.V.N. Raw's observations are very valid. So I was encouraged. I written it before. After I spoke to Dipendra, I understood the whole app. Before saying something more on its work and what India, in fact, many other countries in the world, it is not just for India, can do, I wish to recall a wonderful hymn from Assistive. It goes like this. It's a very beautiful one, therefore I keep it there. Pashema Sharadashatam. May we see for 100 years. Jeevema Sharadashatam. May we live for 100 years. It comes only the second part. Then comes third is Buddhema Sharadashatam. May we acquire knowledge for 100 years. These are the four. Then there are four other items which I am not going to tell here. People who want to go and then find it out. It is another way of him. After those three lines, for a great living up to 100 years. Then the eighth one is so audacious, which says, may we have all the above beyond 100 years. Okay? That hymn is remarkable in ordering the needs of human beings. Vision is the very first need. It gives autonomy to the individual. Aging process reduces it over a period. I am going to focus my talk on this, on the vision, because there are several disabilities which will get into variety of them. We grapple it with PAMC. Here, this is the focus, because if we diffuse it to many things, things won't come. Ideas, it is good. You want to achieve, you have to disaggregate and then focus. That's why I'm going to concentrate only on this. Aging process reduces it over a period. Some have problems from birth and then in the later years when they are old. But the third part of the human thing, that is the buddhi, has solved many problems related to the vision. That was a great feeling they had, but they could not solve many things. They did some related to vision impairment due to aging process, from spectacles to operations to other interventional procedures. Now I find there is some tissue related stem cell thing on the mice. Today's report was there that is going to regenerate many cells. These are all there. And that will go on, it will continue. But the human knowledge went beyond that. And now the other forms of disabilities outside the aging process are being mitigated through several assistive devices which have enhanced the autonomy of the blind persons and the low vision persons. Many of these assistive devices are affordable. I want to emphasize it. Worldwide, many of them are in the market. TIDE programmers in DST is an attempt to create many affordable products in India and to promote Indian R&D in these areas. Beyond TIDE and ministries of the government, there, Himangshu is around. We need. TIDE has done a good job. DST has done a good job. Of course, the bigger one is the department where Himangshu comes. We need action-oriented institutions, NGOs, companies, trusts who need to make them accessible to people. It can't be done by government. I have done my long life from space to this, that, and other thing, technology promotion. It cannot go. So the PV very beautifully pointed out. You need to stretch out. How do you do? So in every forum I go, where innovative possibilities are being discussed, one general thing, I want to say that they are doing it in a good positive feeling, common from many senior people present there and others, is to appreciate it and then tell what we need to increase awareness, make awareness. Try to place the They try to place the burden of awareness on creation on the inventor and innovator. How much she or he can do? Work on new ideas, try to get funds from R&D, do the hard work and some failures, in fact, oftentimes many failures, and get to the final product and process. Also do awareness. It is too much of a load. This is where one needs a number of, most of our institutions, they leave it like, oh, you go and sell. This is where one needs a number of knowledge intermediaries, agencies who can reach awareness to people who need products. People don't need ideas and what you did, how did you achieve, how many papers you did, how many patents you did. They need products. But that's not enough. But one cannot be running from pillar to post to get a product to choose. Even now, during the COVID times, many of you would have seen, you see something, you want to order something, it's not that easy. Pillar to post to get the product and choose from options. Most of us want to choose from options. Dipendra Manocha knows the problem of your users. Not enough to be aware, but one have to have options for buying the right side of product which offers solution in an affordable manner. Know what are the support services, etc. That is, the Saksham is trying to have this one-stop place. When he was describing itself, I knew it. Now when Piyush Chanana showed, my main happiness is around the stores, the store support, and then the e-commerce which will come out. Seeking and obtaining solution for assistive technology for the low vision people. I would also admire the Ambase of India to have supported the efforts of Saksham CSR. I always say, Annadhata Sukino Bhava is our old thing, but we are now most of people get food. So now I would say for such important efforts, Fund Data Sukino Bhava. So the person who gives, so I thank them. Then since, because ideas are to be nucleated, since we have many millions of Indians, now beyond this, when we have got many millions of Indians who need access to assistive devices, which have been proven in many parts of the world, I would wish that this effort of Saksham should raise beyond the current level and develop into a major e-platform which will do commerce as well, arrange for loans for users, for insurance providers, arranging direct benefit transfer, etc. At this point, when these discussions are going on, I did note a few points. It's like this. It's very good. I admire people who do the charity, who give things, including some small funds which are given by PA&MC TIDE program. Because then to scale up, you will have a problem. So here, charity can only nucleate, which is important, and I salute institutions who like Amway for that. Two, scale up cannot take place through charity alone. You should understand. These are all economic laws are as strong as laws of science. Nor can it be government planning and allocation, and it has to be made market demand. It has to be market driven. What the government job is to create demand. I'm going to give some suggestions on it, which Himangshu does if we can do that. Now, we need, I am not done, when I am saying this, I really admire many of the saintly persons who are here and then some who have supported it and who have done a tremendous job, who have left their career, lucrative career, and they are all important. But there can only be a small number. Bulk of it has to be driven by the corporate desire or the commercial desire for profit. In other CSR, is it ISR? I will say CPM. Corporate profit motive. Only then it scales up. You look at everything. I am not telling something out of the way. So the store in Saksham gives that possibility. So I am not, now I will say a few things. Now the comes, how do we create demand? See, people are talking about education. I heard everything, but many of them are children do not go past primary or elementary. Now, because of the compulsory 8 standard, they just say degree, they can degree certificate, they can throw here. They are useless for any business, because I have read a lot of research papers on it, written many articles, so I don't want to dwell on the statistics. About the book also. They don't get jobs. This is not only for those who are having disabilities, all those who are the proper, everything, they all do not get it. Only a very small percentage will go to people like IITs and many institutions. That is only 2% of those. Then another 10%. Then various others who get degrees are falana who don't get jobs. So the thing is, that is where I admire NEP, which has introduced skills right at the school. For me, you have to think beyond the disabilities and other things. That is why I would particularly say to Professor Himangshu Das, Dr. Himangshu Das, that create demand through NEP. That create demand through NEP. The schools, because the divide, digital divide was shown. So let us give funds to those who get that thing. Don't try to distribute mobiles. It's bad. Let it be market driven. Give direct benefit transfer. This government has achieved it very well. Similarly, telecom policy says by 2022, all Indian citizens shall have a broadband access, which means 50 Mbps. Currently, the definitions are 512 and all, 50 Mbps. This means use these two and then try to link it up with those with disabilities. Those children stay through, there will be so many mobiles because they can buy. This is where many of these platforms, when I said this can be done, this is very interesting model which has to be generated. These two will be the main item which can be done. Then I have also something, in fact, fourth one is then make in India. In that, the ministry should go aggressively to say, have all these devices put it by make in India, Atmanirbhar, whichever, because we need slogans. Because underlying work is actual technical work, commercial work, but slogans become sometimes very catchy. So do that. And beyond that, this is a task. I hope that Himangshu Das will be successful, will be creative. Yeah? Pradhan Mantri Drishti Dhan, PMDD. Pradhan Mantri Drishti Dhan. I am focusing only on this. Don't make it all disabilities. Drishti Dhan, which will do these direct transfers. In that, if somebody gives to that, they get the benefit, like the PM CAS. So these are the type of things which should be done to create a demand. The government should not be going and distributing, I give this, I give this thing. That is where the app is very useful, because anybody can put it. It's open. They are not going to restrict that I will not put this, etc. See, already Google got a name. They will see the commercial possibilities, because they will ask many fellows, you put it through us. That is how the commerce runs. It should become a major e-platform. I am not necessarily saying that Dipendra should become the richest man, but if he wants to, let him be. He may become an Alibaba of these products, which later the verticals for other things added. So I am not pipe dreaming. Modern IC technologies allow such aggregation of different stakeholders. P.N. Rao was specifically mentioning, we have to have so many people. Aggregation of several different players specializing in different fields, electronic, material. One fellow, can you do this small chip? One fellow can do. There can be startup, trade, finance, etc. And persons with domain knowledge to help those who have low vision, blindness problem, with proper diagnosis and prognosis. That also should be put into the app. Whom you will reach, in which city, which places. Currently, Saksham is doing a wonderful job, but if you look at it, it is Himachal Pradesh and practically Delhi. But Noida, for me, is Delhi. So you need to do this. It can't be done by physical offices. It can be done by these ones, which can be done. Then with the prognosis. with some fine-tuned government interventions to create demand, as I said, India, it not only drive it, you can sell it outside. You can get an order from Africa. You can get an order from somewhere else. And how can it be tuned? Even those professionals who will give prognosis and diagnosis, they may also put it into your system. So that is what my vision for is. Dipendra and his well-wishers, people like Professor P.V.M. Rao, Balakrishnan, and some of you who are around here, and importantly, Himangshu Das, and a very and very young and energetic team of there. And DST's TIDE program is also being administered by 5 individuals with empathy. I know that. So you people have to drive, and I want it to come within 5 years. Within 5 years, it can be done in a major platform. If it becomes that, then we don't have to be talking about it. The fellows will go to school and then give it. You don't have to put a danda. With all respect for all the courts, courts can say, go and give it. Paisa kidhar hoga? Is a problem. So we think that we make laws, we make this, nothing happens. That's why our education policy suffers. Now it will be demand driven. Because some child will be doing some carpentry type, somebody is doing something else. All that can come. It can be linked, and then that can be done. I look forward for a grand supplier of solutions. The process which I started as a grand supplier of solutions of assistive technologies in India, say in 5 years, eventually, supplier means I'm not saying free of cost. Some of them may get funds. There are many upper class, middle class, for instance, they also don't know. India is a striated country, which is there about 100 million rich and super rich. Another upper middle class may be another 200, 250 million. Then another 300 will be lower middle class, and all. They will all be want to get many things, but they will penny pinch it. But the lower, so how to give them the done? That is another question. That is what policies ministries can do. But eventually, this will drive. This is what the stimulus package they say, no? That is the type of stimulus package eventually for those in other countries of the world. That is the thing which I foresee. I am not wrong, but it demands people who have got a lot of courage and sustaining and working in India is not easy. Not just with government, with others also. Everybody, every Indian wants to put a brake on action. That is our tendency. So if we can do that and then push through that, we can do it. And all the best. And thanks again for the great opportunity given so that we can see.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Rajan. I think this has been absolutely enlightening, the way you have put it. It's a absolutely...
Depend on one thing I forgot to say.
Yeah, please, sir.
You know, why I say this thing, we have to remember the great Einstein. We have been talking about it. You know, you saw 1971, 91, 99, everything. I have seen it in every place. I have seen it for all technology. Einstein says one thing. You please remember that. Says, I have never seen a greater insanity. I'm not using exact language. I have not seen any greater insanity than those who continue to do the same thing again and again and again, and yet expect different results. This applies to a scientific problem, it applies to a mathematical modeling, it applies to anything. So we have to go out and then see what is reality. What is the reality of this? And all this possibility exists. Dipendra, you are still young. All your team is very young. Himangshu is young. All of you can drive it. Our Gopi Krishna and other in the tide of young, you can do that. And of course, our AB Day, etc., are eternally young.
Thank you so much. But one thing I would also like to say, Professor Rajan, that just to make everybody comfortable in collaborating, the whole operation, even although we are calling it a store, it's actually a not-for-profit venture. The whole Saksham joint family that I named, the whole operation is not-for-profit. So us directors are, and all the trustees that you just met and all the family members, including, we are all already on this whole mission. to keep our motivation and our focus on providing solution and not to deter from the key focus. And as I said, I think that right now the time for India is that the government, non-government, educational institutions, the scientific community, everybody has to come together and to make it possible, as I said, to make this collaboration really comfortable. We have purposefully kept the whole commercial angle completely out of it. Whatever comes in, it gets deployed on providing solutions to people. So,
thanks. I will say something. I'm glad that you said this. I said, I don't want Dipendra to become rich. Or I said, all of you remain like that. You do the trust. I also said some of the saintly persons are required. If saintly persons are not there, the society cannot run. But if everybody is saint, the society will not be there. So, remember this. So, therefore, what I am saying is, you are like Tata Sons. You are a trust. See, I know the laws of the country, companies are so well. You are trust. It is like Tata Sons. You can go to company, or that will be a holding company. You don't have to be there. Tata Trust, none of them get any remuneration except employees. But it creates the empire. You look at any other thing, even Google, etc., they will have a trust. Under a trust in the government of India, we can do anything. You can run a society, you can run an NGO, you can do a temple, you can do anything. And also promote commercial one, but the trustees won't get anything.
Right.
I am not saying that you make money, but I am saying if you don't get into the commerce part of it, if you cut it out, it will just saturate and come. Just as many ventures in India, they just scale up and then plateau. After the several number of plateau, all these saintly people get older, it will fall down. That's what is happening. I learn from life, I continuously learn from life. That's all. You be what you are. But create the commercial opportunity. That is what the store is. Let somebody do. It may be somebody. What terms at all? Actually, Himangshu will know much better about how to create that particular thing. You people will be insulated from it. That's what it is. But you have to create that one, and the government said to create demand on the lines what I said. So the demand will be created. Demand is created when paisa comes through some method. The other thing, they will sell better technologies. That is for the upper middle class at all make money there. Here they will be doing this way. They will not get the subsidy.